One sentence. That's all it took. Adam Silver stood in front of the cameras, and with a cold, calm voice said, effective immediately, I am banning Brittney Griner from the WNBA, for life. No build-up. No discussion. No chance at redemption. And with that, one of the league's most iconic players disappeared from the WNBA's official pages, broadcasts, and media. It wasn't a suspension. It wasn't a fine. It was an exile. How does someone go from being the poster child of the WNBA to being erased without warning? How does the most celebrated athlete in women's basketball suddenly become its biggest scandal? This isn't just about one bad decision. It's about years of secrets, whispers, and explosive allegations that finally boiled over. And if the leaks are true, this could shake the entire league to its core. Before we dive deep, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell. If you want the truth, not the PR version, this is where you'll get it. The fall of a legend. Let's be clear, Brittney Griner was in the WNBA. She wasn't just a player. She was the player. A two-time Olympic gold medalist. A 6'9" powerhouse who could dunk, block shots, and dominate both ends of the court. She broke barriers. She sold tickets. She filled arenas. You saw her in Nike ads. You saw her representing Team USA. Hosting basketball camps. Headlining documentaries. She was on cereal boxes and in TV spots. She was everything the league needed and wanted. And now, without warning, she's banned for life. No farewell tour. No press conference. No thank you speech. Just, gone. One moment she was the face of women's basketball, and the next, she was blacklisted from the very league she helped build. So what happened? The press conference shockwave. Adam Silver's press conference wasn't long. But it was powerful. Standing before stunned reporters, he dropped the news like a hammer. The league had completed an internal investigation, and what they found was impossible to ignore. Griner, he said, had committed multiple violations that undermined the integrity of the game. As a result, she was being permanently banned. No details were released at first. No evidence. No follow-up. Just a headline. The silence after his statement was deafening. Reporters didn't know what to ask. Fans were glued to their phones, asking if it was a mistake. But it wasn't. It was the beginning of something bigger. What followed were days of leaks, audio clips, emails, anonymous statements, and every piece added another crack to Griner's image. The truth, or at least what the league uncovered, was more scandalous than anyone expected. Years in the making. This wasn't sudden. The fall of Brittney Griner didn't happen overnight. Insiders now say the warning signs were there for years. Teammates had raised concerns. Coaches reported odd behavior. There were quiet disputes in the locker room, tension with officials, and stories of her disregarding team protocols. She'd skip practices, show up late to team meetings, argue with refs during games, and reportedly used her star status to bully or silence other players behind the scenes. Even team staff began noticing the shift, but it all stayed behind closed doors. But no one acted. Why? Because she brought attention to the league. She brought in fans. She filled the seats. And the WNBA needed that. Brittney Griner wasn't just a player, she was a brand, a marketing tool, a public symbol of women's basketball. And for a while, the league chose to protect the brand, until the damage could no longer be hidden. That damage finally broke into the spotlight when recordings surfaced. Leaked audio showed Griner allegedly speaking with referees in private, discussing pressure points in upcoming games, how to swing momentum, how to disrupt the rhythm of opponents, and even what kinds of fouls to watch for. That crossed a line the league could no longer ignore. Game rigging and control. When you mess with the outcome of games, you mess with the soul of the sport. Integrity is everything in professional leagues. Fans watch because they believe the outcome is real. That players compete fairly. But the investigation into Griner pulled back the curtain, and what was behind it shocked even the most loyal fans. Sources say she wasn't just talking trash, she was controlling outcomes. Rigged matchups. Games where fouls suddenly turned the tide. Suspicious wins where her team benefited from last-minute whistles. And during playoff runs, it got worse. Some games felt too perfectly scripted. Fans began whispering. Analysts started reviewing tapes. And the pattern became too obvious. Adam Silver brought in third-party investigators. Not just league officials, independent specialists. And what they found included digital messages, audio recordings, and testimonies that painted a clear picture. This wasn't one bad moment. This was calculated. Planned. Executed over time. Who knew? And who stayed silent? Here's the part that makes the whole situation even darker: people knew. According to insiders, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert had been warned multiple times. Players filed internal complaints. Coaches sent emails. The staff whispered about it in hushed tones. There were quiet conversations behind closed doors, conversations about how Griner had become too powerful, how the rules didn't seem to apply to her anymore, and how some were afraid to speak up or feared retaliation. Some teammates even admitted they stayed quiet to protect their own careers. But Engelbert, it seems, did nothing. Some say she feared damaging the league's image at a critical time. Others believe she simply didn't want to face the storm. Either way, her silence let the scandal grow unchecked. Now she's under review herself. Fans are demanding her resignation. Public trust has eroded. The league had to bring in Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, to clean up the mess. That's how serious it got. The WNBA couldn't even manage its own disaster. The whistleblowers speak. And then came the turning point. Some of the league's rising stars, like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, decided to speak up. These aren't minor names. They're the future of the league. They've got talent, vision, and voices that carry weight. They reportedly sat down for closed-door interviews with league investigators. And what they revealed? It sent shockwaves. They described games where refs acted strange. Calls that didn't make sense. A feeling that certain teams were protected. But more than feelings, they had evidence. Word is that in at least one recording, Griner is heard advising a referee on how to target a specific player. That's not competition. That's control. And it was those testimonies, along with the leaks, that finally forced the league's hand. Griner's defense, a political target. Brittney Griner's camp is fighting back. Hard. They've already begun the appeals process. Her legal team says the ban is not just harsh, it's political. They argue that Griner was singled out because of her influence, her outspoken nature, and her refusal to play the good girl role. They claim she challenged leadership. They claim the league wanted to send a message. And here's the wildest part: her team believes she's being used as a scapegoat, a distraction from bigger scandals the league is hiding. They're demanding full access to the investigation materials. And if they don't get it, they're prepared to go to court. This could turn into the most public legal battle the WNBA has ever seen. The gender rumors explode. As if that wasn't enough, another firestorm erupted. Whispers that had been circulating quietly for years suddenly became full-blown headlines. Is Brittney Griner biologically male? It's a deeply uncomfortable and controversial question, but it's now part of the public conversation. Multiple sources now claim there may be documents, medical records, and league memos that show the WNBA knew the truth and kept it hidden. If proven, this could raise massive questions about fairness in competition, league transparency, and even legal violations under Title IX. Was the league afraid the truth would destroy its image? Was Griner protected because of what she brought to the court, regardless of the rules? We don't know the full truth. But we do know this: the story is out, and there's no putting it back in the box. The fallout. The WNBA is now in full damage control. Sponsors are pulling back. Media companies are reconsidering deals. Fans don't know who to trust. And rookies like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who were supposed to lead the league into a bright new era, are now caught in a mess they didn't create. What does this mean for future players? For parents who dreamed of their daughters playing in a league built on fairness? Right now, that future feels shaky. This was supposed to be the WNBA's golden era. New stars. Bigger ratings. Mainstream buzz. But instead, the league is facing the biggest identity crisis in its history. And the world is watching. So now it's your turn. Was the ban on Brittney Griner justified? Or is she being used to cover up something deeper, darker, and more dangerous? Was this about protecting the game, or hiding the truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you want the real story, not the cleaned up version, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell. Because this is far from over, and the next chapter is going to be even crazier.